Hello and welcome. My name is Shannon O'Shea and I'm here with Jaleisha Richmond to provide a brief webinar about Thread Capital's Hurricane Florence Rapid Recovery Loan. If you're listening to this, more than likely you and your business were affected by Hurricane Florence, and we want you to know that we're here for you and we'll do everything we can to help you on your way towards recovering in the short term and becoming more resilient in the future. We're going to do our best to cover everything you need to know about the Hurricane Florence Rapid Recovery Loan in this short webinar, but you should never hesitate to contact us if you have any questions. Our contact information is at the end of the presentation. This is the Thread Capital team. We are small but mighty. We wanted you to be able to put faces to our voices and our names for those of you we haven't met. As I said, I am Shannon, and you'll hear from Jaleisha in a few minutes. Our executive director is Jonathan Brereton, and if you give us a call, you'll probably get to hear from Patty and Khadijah as well. The Hurricane Florence Rapid Recovery Loan is what you may have heard called a gap loan or a bridge loan. It's intended to help with immediate cleanup needs and help you reopen or stay open while you're waiting for insurance payouts and other funding that takes a little bit longer to get approved, and while you're planning for your longer term sustainability. The most important thing to be sure that you understand is that this is not a grant. Repayment is expected, and this should not be your primary source of recovery for your business. It is just one piece of the puzzle, and we and your business counselors will work to help you with putting all the other pieces together as well. The Rapid Recovery Loan was developed together with a number of partners that have a lot of experience and resources for disaster recovery, and we will work with these partners on determining your best strategy going forward. The basic details of the loan is that it's for up to $50,000, and this amount is based on revenue and other factors that we'll go over later in the presentation. It's 6 months interest-free, no payments, with payment expected by the end of the term. 1% interest will accrue per month on any unpaid balance at the end of that period. And just like any other loan, defaults are subject to collection. Here are some basic eligibility requirements. It must be a North Carolina small business, a for-profit business, not a nonprofit. Must have at least one employee, that can include the owner, and have established documented revenue prior to August 1st, 2018. Because this is a recovery loan, it must have sustained physical damage or economic injury from Hurricane Florence. Non-SBA counties can apply, but they must show evidence of impact and likely repayment source, and it may take us a little bit longer to get those approved. Ineligible businesses include adult entertainment, multi-level marketing, real estate speculation, rental properties, lending, and gambling. The frequently asked questions on threadcap.org also cover other basic eligibility questions you may have. We have an online application. We also have a paper application if you need that. And along with that comes some required documents. These include copies of identification, your personal and business tax returns. We understand that those may not be available at this time, so we ask that you then sign the IRS Form 4056T that will allow us to pull them for you. We must also see evidence of impact, and in lieu of some of these things, or even in addition to some of these things, we may ask for other documents like bank statements and internal financials. This is an outline of our basic process, and I'm going to turn it over to Jaleisha Richmond to go through these items in detail. Our goal is to get this done within 1 week of receiving all the application and all the documentation, the whole package, with the caveat that some applications with weaker credit or less established business, anything like that, may take a little bit longer to approve.
So once again, I'm Jaleisha, and I'll walk you through the actual application process. So you would start on the Thread Capital website, which is this beautiful website, and you can click on the top banner to learn more details that's covered in this webinar. If you have any additional questions, but there are some of the requirements covered here on this page. Then to actually apply for the program, you can either click the yellow button that says apply. Also at the top of the page, it says apply now, and you would click on Hurricane Florence Rapid Recovery. When you go through the application, please make sure you fill out as much information as possible, as that helps with our processing time. The application overall asks for some personal information. You complete that. If you have a co-applicant is anyone with over 20% ownership of the business. Select the yes button. You'll insert the co-applicant's name and their email address. Once you submit your application, they'll receive an email requiring them to complete additional information. And if you have more than one co-applicant, just reach out to someone on our team and we'll send them a link to an application as well. Other information required would be basic business information. Once again, just complete as much as you know. We go through personal financials as well as business financials. And then also there's a section for required documentation. Upload any documentation required. If you don't have the required documentation, please reach out to one of our loan officers, or if you have a business counselor, they can reach out to one of the loan officers as well to figure out alternative documentation that can be used. One thing when it comes to the loan request, put in the amounts as well as provide as much information about the physical/economic injury that you have sustained. If you have a business counselor, please make sure that you check that you have one and insert their name so we can keep them in the loop when it comes to this loan application. So then once you submit this application, we will be back in contact with you to finish out the process. So then once we completed the application, we move on to the underwriting and approval process. So there are some factors that we'll consider when it comes to reviewing your application. For evidence of impact, please provide any pictures of the physical damage and also work with your loan officer to figure out any type of documentation needed for evidence of economic injury. We'll look at the business history. We're looking at the taxes. So if there are any discrepancies of any kind, please be prepared to include verification and documentation to help with those discrepancies. We'll also look at the likelihoods of repayment sources and strategies. Your business counselor may ask about SBA loans as well as business counselors, and then also insurance policies. So just make sure you have any of that information available. When it comes to credit, we do pull the credit of all our applicants. So just once again, just provide any documentation or explanation that may be needed when it comes to those matters. All of our loans do not require collateral, but however, it is a good time to start thinking about any assets that are available when it comes to collateral. So list those pieces of collateral and assets that you have available. When it comes to our policy, however, we do require a UCC to be filed on all businesses for our loan purposes. So a UCC will be filed on all businesses when it comes for collateral needs. Once again, when it comes to this process, if you have any questions, please reach out to your loan officer and just make sure that you stay in communication, because as it comes to gathering this information, we want to make sure that we gather the information, but we're also being respectful of your time, because we do understand that communication may be limited and / time is limited in this time of distress, but we want to make sure that we have all the necessary documents to make sure that the processing time is as speedy as possible. For our approval process, we do go through an internal credit committee, and that documentation that we have collected through the underwriting process is presented to our overall credit committee. Once we've moved out of the underwriting and approval process, we do move on to closing and funding. The closing will be done can either be done in person or remotely via DocuSign. We do try to include your business counselors, and also your loan officer may help walk you through the documents to expedite the process. But explanations of the closing process will be given, and we are there to help. So with DocuSign, it can be done remotely or in person, and we make sure to include your preference when it comes to that. The overall closing process is straightforward, and we will provide detailed instructions that will come with the process. Once we have all the documents have been verified, Thread Capital, the team will disperse the funds through ACH. So at this time, we just want to say thank you to all of our partners out there, those who are working directly in the fields with you guys. So we want to thank SPTDC, as well as the Small Business Center Network, as well as our partners with Business Link and the Economic Development Partnership for North Carolina, and also the U.S. Small Business Administration for once again being out there in the field. We also want to thank some of our partners, including Golden Leaf Foundation, and then also our parent organization, the NC Rural Center, who's had an extensive history when it comes to disasters. And we also want to thank you and hope that we've covered everything that you'll need to know about the Thread Capital Florence Rapid Recovery Loan Program. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. Here's our contact information. And if you have any questions that you want to email to us directly, you can reach us by our first names at threadcap.org, which will be our email addresses, or you can reach us by phone at the number provided. Once again, thank you, and we look forward to working with you.